It's only the power of copywriting that's going to get you there. Not the beauty of your page, not the video's glamour. It's the copywriting that'll get them to stay. And in the end, it's the copywriting that'll get them to decide to pull their credit card out and buy something. So copywriting, it starts there, it ends there. It's the number one skill you need.
This is The Fighting Entrepreneur, the podcast dedicated to entrepreneurs looking to change the world. Learn how to start, build, and scale a business in today's highly competitive business environment. Here's your host, The Fighting Entrepreneur, Anik Singal.
What is up, you crazy fighting entrepreneurs? Welcome to the Fighting Entrepreneur Podcast. This is Jeremy Bellotti. I'm the lead transformation coach here, and I'm actually on this side because we have somebody on the other end here that you might know, and I'm excited to be able to kind of dig into here a little bit. It's Anik Singal, the CEO and founder of Lurn. And so, Anik, good to have you on the other side of this.
I have never been on this. It's kind of nervous, man.
Yeah?
All right, I'm excited, and I'm sure everyone's wondering why I'm on this side. I'm sure we'll tell them in just a second.
We definitely will. And we got a lot of things that we're going to go through during this episode. We're going to dig into copywriting. We're going to dig into all of the expertise that Anik has as the world's best copywriter, somebody that is truly the master of this art of being able to sell through the written word. And you're going to know exactly what that looks like. And we're going to go through some pretty tactical stuff here. So make sure you've got your notes ready to go. We also have show notes at Anikpodcast.com. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you leave a comment because we're going to go through that and it'll be great to see what your response is to what Anik has to share.
I lay in bed every night and I read and respond to the comments. So on YouTube especially. So make sure you do that.
Yes.
All right. So I want to tell everyone why are we doing this?
Why are you on this side?
Yeah. We're going to talk about not podcasting. We're going to talk about copywriting today. All right. We're going to talk about what I believe and what I've proven again and again is the number one skill every entrepreneur needs. If you've been listening to the Fighting Entrepreneur Podcast, you know every single guest in one way or the other happens to mention it. I don't even ask them to. They just happen to mention it. Now, we are going to be doing something really amazing coming up soon. It's called the Copywriting Masterclass, and it's going to be a 6-week-long program with yours truly, with me. And today is kind of drumming up the introduction to that. Now, if you want to learn more about that, it's going to be highly limited, 300 students only. And here's the best part. The cost of it is going to be less than the cost of a dinner for two at an average restaurant, not even a nice one, okay? Now, if you want to know a little bit more about it, here's what you need to do. Go to lurn.com, LURN.com/vote. VOTE, LURN.com/vote. Now you might be wondering, how is he dropping URLs so early? It's my podcast. I can do whatever the heck I want. All right. So you're going to love it. Now go there because it'll give you a chance to get on the early bird list. Again, less than the cost of a dinner for two at an average restaurant. It's going to be so powerful. I'm so excited. I am now declaring officially, ready for this, Jeremy? This podcast, this moment, this is where I declare first time openly for the next 12 months, starting today, I am going to be devoting to teaching copywriting like crazy because not enough people are doing it. The ones who are, I'm sorry to say, are teaching it wrong. And it's time people learn. Copywriting has made me even a better conversationalist, if that's a word, at dinner parties. I mean, it's changed my life. It's changed the way I communicate. So learn.com, LURN.com/vote. Go there. You'll find out more or keep listening to this episode. That's why I'm on this side. I'm excited to get grilled by Jeremy. I'm going to reveal everything I can about not about podcasting, about copywriting. All right. Man, I'm nervous.
This might be your podcast, but you're on that side,
yes.
And the oath still applies.
All right.
So you get to abide by the oath. This is what we do at the Fighting Entrepreneur Podcast.
Yes,
we make
sir.
sure that our guest is here to serve you, and that includes Anik. So, Anik, raise your right hand. I, Anik Singal.
I, Anik Singal.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
To tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
To tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
And reveal all my master Jedi copywriting secrets to the world.
And reveal all my master Jedi copywriting secrets to the world.
And to say nothing but amazing good things about Jeremy from now on.
And to say nothing but crappy things about Jeremy from now on.
All right, that's a get to.
That's a get to.
So, let's go ahead and dig into round number 1. So round number 1 is why copywriting? Maybe you're thinking that. You're like, well, why copywriting and what role does it play? Anik, you keep talking about copywriting. You're the best in the world at it. We want to know from you, why copywriting?
All right. Well, so first of all, thank you for saying that. It means the world to me. It's funny because I always joke and say when I die on my tombstone, I wanted to say, great human, great husband, great father, great copywriter. Like that would mean the world to me.
With a perfect visual flow on the tombstone, by
yes,
the way.
it has to. You see, they don't know what visual flow means yet. They've not heard that part. All right. Why copywriting? Listen. When I started my career, or I tried to start my career as an entrepreneur, a little over 15 years now, 16 almost years ago, man, I tried everything. There was no lack of hustle. I was working hard. I was hours a day trying every single different thing I could find on a forum, and I just was not making it. I mean, nothing. 18 months of just slogging away and not like a dollar to call to my name for it. I was really frustrated. During that 18-month process, there was a point at which someone introduced me. There was a guy on the forum, felt bad for me. He said, let me introduce you to someone who may be able to help you. I used to be in a student-related niche back then, and he said, I know this guy who also talks to parents of students. He said, he talks to parents. Now, maybe you're trying to sell your product to the wrong people. Students don't want to buy your stuff, but maybe parents who are paying for them to go to college would. Anyways, long story short, he introduces me to the person. This person writes back, says, hey, sorry, kid, I can't really help you. I talk to parents of infants and toddlers, not college kids. So it was really a big burst of my bubble. Like, I really thought that was my last opportunity to get someone to help me. But a couple of days later, he writes back to me and he says, hey, I remember exactly, it was, hey, kid, who wrote your sales page? Now, note to self, I have a horrid relationship with writing at that point. That was the first D- I ever got in school. I had PTSD from my English class in high school. I hated it. I hated writing. But I was broke. So when I was trying to start my business, I didn't have a choice but I had to write my own pages and stuff. So I did the best I could, even though I hated every second of it. So when he asked me this question, it was an immediate like, holy crap, oh my God, what's going to happen? And so I thankfully responded honestly, and I said, hey, it was me. And then I immediately went to defensive mode. I was like, I know, it's not good. I have to improve it, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, he's like, actually, thought it was pretty decent. There's a lot of room for improvement. I'd like to teach you how to write. What do you say about becoming my intern? And I thought the guy had lost his flipping mind. I'm like, are you effing crazy? The last thing in the world I want to do is become a writer. So I said no. No. This person, something about him, man, he was persistent. I don't know why he did this for me, but he just stayed on me. And so finally he offers me a free trip to Delray Beach, Florida for an event by AWAI, right? I just want to go to the beach. I was a broke kid. He's offering me a free trip to the beach. I'm like, all right, I'm in. Like, whatever, I'll go. And when I get there, he has a seat for me right in the front, and they introduced the keynote speaker. I had no idea who's coming, what the heck the event was. I genuinely thought when I walk into the room, I'm going to see a bunch of teacups sitting around and people with their pinkies out sipping tea. The writers, right? That's what I think writers are in my head. I get there. The first person that greets me is a biker. Leather jacket, tattooed up, cool guy. I ended up becoming really good friends with him. And it was just all walks of life. But then I'm sitting in the front, and they introduce a keynote speaker, and they're like, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Michael Masterson, otherwise known as Mark Ford. Now, I knew the name Michael Masterson. I didn't like copywriting, but I'd been around the block long enough to know that was arguably the world's best copywriter who'd ever lived. Yeah. And I jaw dropped. I was more starstruck than I've met some stars in my life. Never been that starstruck in my life. And then I heard the name. It said Mark Ford. And that really caught my attention because the guy who had been after me for the longest time his name was Justin Ford. So I listened. I got more and more interested. Throughout the day, they really made a believer out of me in the power of copy. And, Justin said something to me at that event, and he had said it before too. And he said, every successful business person must be able to sell through the art of the written word. Every successful business person must be able to sell through the art of the written word. Those words, I never understood what the heck they meant, but they were engraved in my mind. And so he said it again at the event. That night we went out and I asked this one question that everyone loves to ask. I said, hey, Justin, any relation to? And he goes, that's my big brother. And that was the moment I said, man, the universe has delivered me an opportunity. I cannot say no to this. I cannot not do this. The brother of the world's #1 copywriter is begging me to learn copywriting from him. I would be dumb to say no. So I took him up on the opportunity. And I got to tell you, it was like a blink of an eye. Years later, I've made millions of dollars. And it was probably 6 or 7 years ago that I even realized I had become such a wizard at copywriting, because friends, good friends who are good marketers, who are millionaires, started to ask me, can I teach them? And my answer was no. I don't know how to do it. I just sit down and I write. But so many people asked. And then I sat back and someone asked me on stage once, they said, what would you say, what one skill would you say has helped you make your money? And I couldn't even believe it. It was a divine moment. The word that came out of my mouth was copywriting. And that was when I realized I can't just keep saying, I don't know. I got to decode what I'm doing and I got to teach it. Copywriting is that important because copywriting is the ability to influence. It's the ability to sell. It's the ability to have something live when you're sleeping or when you're on vacation and speak on your behalf and deliver a message and create conversions and revenue and sales without you physically being present. That's an ultimately scalable business model. Copywriting, most people don't realize, has nothing to do with words. It's all about psychology. And once you learn psychology of communication, of influence, of relationships, you can do whatever you want. You know, you want to go to that golfing trip over the weekend and your wife says no? Learn yourself some damn psychology. Learn to sell that. Copywriting will teach you that. We'll teach you that here in this episode. Yeah. So copywriting is the number one skill because it is the first line of defense and first line of offense. Yeah. That's the only way you're going to get someone to stay at your page. It's the only way you're going to get someone who's scrolling through Facebook or YouTube or Google to even pay attention to you, to stop and click your ad. And when they get there, you have 8 seconds, as proven by Microsoft study, 8 seconds to keep them there. It's only the power of copywriting that's going to get you there. Not the beauty of your page, not the video's glamour. It's the copywriting that'll get them to stay. And in the end, it's the copywriting that'll get them to decide to pull their credit card out and buy something. So copywriting, it starts there, it ends there. It's the number one skill you need.
Yeah, and when you mention it's the number one entrepreneurial skill that is really necessary to make progress in your business, at what year into this 16 plus year journey now did you start realizing that this is the foundation of me making money online?
You know, it's so funny. It probably wasn't until 7, 8, 9 years in that I actively realized it. Subconsciously, of course, it was the one thing, till this day, people ask me, Anik, who writes your copy? 90% of my copy I write myself still till this day because it's that important and I love doing it. I don't like writing. I hate writing. Anyone that's wanted me to write these books here, I hate writing. I will put it off. But copywriting, it's not about writing. That's the thing. And once you understand that, you start to enjoy it. And once you have the formula that we give in today's podcast and that I deliver week over week after on my 6-week workshop, once you master that, it's easy. It's just like a conversation. But no, I have to tell you that probably within the first year that, when I finally got my first dollar, I made my first dollar. A year after that, I had made my first million. I wasn't buying traffic. I wasn't a Jedi at buying traffic. I didn't have the best products in the industry. I was still a green kid, but I was damn good at writing good words on a page that got people to buy. And so I think now that I look back, it was within the first few months of learning the skill that I can see the impact it had on my life. But actively, it didn't even become aware for 7, 8, 9 years. And that's why most people right now trying to build a business may be either thinking, God, copywriting's not that important. What is he talking about? I'm telling you, it's so important. You may just not be realizing it because you're not on the other side. But every single successful online marketer or every single successful entrepreneur I've ever met that's on the other side comes back and says, oh yeah, the ability to influence, copywriting, the ability to sell, by far the number one thing you need.
Well, and for most people starting out, it's going to be sales and marketing that drives the business to begin with.
Yeah.
And the reason I think that you hit on it so much is because it touches every area of your business, especially when you're starting out. Think of all the things you do, email, social media, all of that as copy.
Yeah.
So what is it that you see holds most entrepreneurs just starting out to kind of push this copy to the side and say, I can make it without it?
Because they think it's an optional thing. It's when you're buying a car, you have an option to get the navigation system or not. I don't know. I don't even think it's an optional anymore. I think every car has it, but steering wheel's not.
Yeah.
So most people are out there chasing the tactical, the I want the thing that'll make me the money, and they think the wrong things will make them the money. They think it's the page, the buttons, the funnel, the system. We hear it all the time. Funnel, 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 funnel. Well, what the heck is a funnel? A funnel is just a bunch of boxes with arrows drawing next to it. Guess what makes the actual difference? The words, the copy, the sales psychology that goes onto the pages in the funnel. But no one wants to talk about that because it's not as sexy, right? This book right here, I talk about how this book sold 40,000+ copies. Every piece of this book and throughout the book, the number one thing people that tell me about that read this book, I was just at a dinner party with some friends, and someone who I don't know, his wife, comes up to me and says, dude, I recognize your face. I have your book, Escape. And I said, yeah. And she said one thing. She said, I got to just compliment you on one thing. And I said, what is it? She goes, I've never read a book in my life. I can never finish a book in my life. I went through your book in like 3 days. Yep. I could not put it down. Joe, you said that. Joe said that.
We've heard it a ton as well.
It's because it was written by a copywriter. It's because I understand how to keep someone's attention. Yep. So you want to write a book. I don't care what you want to do. Copywriting is the most important skill, but people think it's writing. And very few people in the world like writing. So they immediately say, oh, I don't want to do it. Oh, it's not important. Let me convince myself I don't need it. I'm telling you, here is your beacon of hope. It's not writing. It's not about writing. Nothing to do with it.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Copywriting is necessary, and it's the number one skill for an entrepreneur, especially if you're just starting out. But let's be honest. Anik, I know he's probably too humble to say it, but he's done over $250 million being able to use and leverage copywriting, and still is leveraging it at a level beyond a lot of other entrepreneurs doing it.
I was writing copy right before we sat down to do this interview.
There you go.
And that copy, by the way, is going to go on. Probably took me it's going to take me 3 hours to put together in the end. It's going to make about $200,000 to $250,000 in the span of 10 days. Yeah. I'll do that kind of ROI on time, any day, any time. So I love doing it. And when, you know what? It's just necessary. It's a damn fun when you learn what we're teaching, when you learn the formula I apply, when you join us in the masterclass, and even if you listen to this episode, when it becomes internalized, it's fun.
Yep. So, fighting entrepreneurs, get your copywriting game on, all right? Anik is going to share a little bit more on terms of the tactical, and also share some really exciting things by the end of this episode. So make sure we go through all these rounds. Stick with us, all right? Here comes round number 2. Anik, you talk about it all the time. It is something I'm excited for you to share on the podcast. Direct marketing is dying. What do you mean by that, and what are the implications of it?
I got to tell you, it's dead. I mean, I just say dying because I tend to offend people when I say it's dead, so I give them a glimmer of hope.
Slowly moving towards annihilation.
It's like 95%. It's lying on the floor with the tongue out and one eye open like this. I mean, it's pretty much done. Okay, look, I'm going to prove it to you once and for all. People say, direct marketing is not dying. Okay, fine. If you're not willing to accept direct marketing is not dying, then you have to statistically and factually accept this. It's evolving.
Yep.
It's evolving, and I'll tell you why. Direct marketing was invented during a time, decades ago, and it was invented during a time where the best way to communicate with consumers was infomercials, billboards. You would print out letters and send them to people's mailboxes. You would do phone calls, cold calls, right? And classified ads back in newspapers and magazines. That's direct marketing. Direct marketing is different from advertising because it's direct to consumer, and it's meant to create an immediate response. So when I do direct marketing, it is because I want to get a response from the person right away, which is typically I want them to buy something. Okay, now, let's just go through those again. We'll start with infomercials. All right, thanks to Hulu, Netflix, on demand. When the heck is the last time you flipped channels at 11 at night? Seriously, I'm looking at you guys. Ask yourself that. Okay, I know you just said never. So if you don't want to believe me that direct marketing is dying, hold your own answer. You said you don't do that anymore. Number 2. Cold calls. I got my phone right here. The day caller ID was invented. I don't answer this thing if I don't know the number. I don't know how many people actually answer their phones anymore if they don't know the number. Cold calling is like a curse. It's the worst thing you could do to someone. People get offended, right? Whereas 20, 30 years ago, someone called you, like, hey, okay, sure. Strangers calling me up, sit and chat. I got nothing else to do. Not like I have the internet, not like I have 32 other things I could be doing right now, so I'll talk to the stranger. Okay, cold calling, dead? Do you like to answer phones from strangers selling you stuff? No. Okay, hold that answer, okay, for those of you who said direct marketing is not dying. Number 3, billboards. Jeremy, can you honestly tell me the last billboard you saw? Can you remember the message on it? No, because we are blind to them. We don't care about billboards, okay? It's good for overall brand marketing, and unless you're in Vegas, I don't remember the last time I saw a billboard. All right,
let alone took action on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm driving. If you want me to, I'm not gonna get started about billboards. All right, so billboards. Let's just not have that conversation. They're obviously not that effective. They are effective in their own way, in their own place. But for us online marketers, online entrepreneurs, it's no point. Written letters printed. When's the last time, Jeremy, you ran to the mailbox?
Not anytime in the near recent past.
Listen, I remember my dad's entire routine. The man would come home from work, briefcase in hand. Before he walked into the house, he would walk out of the garage after parking, go to the mailbox, get the mail, walk in, stand in his usual place with his letter opener, and he was not to be bothered during that. It was like sacred time for the man. He would open every piece of mail. You know what? I check my mailbox maybe once every 10 to 14 days, only because if I don't, the mailman gets really pissed off and leaves notes at the door.
It gets flooded.
Yeah,
like all
because
this
it's
mail.
like huge. I've actually had notes on the door, like
Mail
"Can you
on the
please
floor.
empty your freaking mailbox." So that's why I go, because I don't want to piss off the mailman or woman. I don't know who they are, but they are very cranky. So I go get all this mail, and I'll tell you right now, before I even reach my garage, I have this big dumpster in my garage, right? 70% of it is thrown in the trash. It's nonsense. I don't need it. And it's cost that company so much money. It's just not needed. So here's the deal. Microsoft did a study in 2015. This is the final sucker punch for all of you who don't want to agree that direct marketing is dying. Microsoft did a study in 2015, and it's so embarrassing. I feel sad for us as a human society. They found that a human's average attention span is now at 8 seconds. Goldfish have 9 seconds.
That's good to know.
That's
good to know. We're
yeah,
really on par with the
there we go.
evolutionary progress.
You know why? It's the internet, it's binging and dinging all around us, it's our phones. It's sad. I mean, we are literally the most distracted we've ever been in the history as society. Now, how can we have had such a massive evolution or de-evolution of our attention span, of our way of communicating, of our way of thinking? Again, think about this. 20 years ago, how do we communicate? Today, we have phones in our hands and we can't call each other. We want to text. We can't text. That's expensive. Let's WhatsApp. Let's Facebook message. Let's gajillion applications. 20 years ago, we actually, spent time and we communicated differently. How many images have you seen on Facebook that go viral where there's a group of people sitting together and everyone's heads are down in their own phone? That's a reality. I can't tell you how many times I've been a part of that. So we are fundamentally different at the neurological and psychological level. So how could we continue to sell and market to ourselves the same way that we did 20, 30 years ago, when fundamentally we think different, communicate different, act different, react different? Yeah. We cannot. So that was direct marketing. And today, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll, and I don't want anyone stealing these two words. They are mine. I invented it.
Trademarking it right here.
It'll be the last thing on my tombstone. It'll say, great copywriter, inventor of interactive marketing. That's what I'm calling it. Interactive marketing is where it's at. That's what direct marketing has evolved into. And if you don't learn interactive marketing, if you don't change your copywriting, if you don't change your sales psychology to fit interactive marketing, you are not going to make it. 100% you cannot make it, because people like me who are mastering interactive marketing will roll over you.
Well, and I think one thing you mentioned about the attention span is that when you do actually catch somebody's attention, it becomes so unique in today's marketplace that when you're able to grab their attention with good copy and being able to connect with them, man, you are way ahead of the game.
Yeah.
If you can get beyond that 8 seconds in any way whatsoever.
Can you imagine how sold someone is if they're willing to give you 30 minutes of their time in today's day and age?
Yep.
When I talk to the people that are on our sales team every morning, I address it with them. I said, do you realize how many steps people have gone through to get to the phone with you? If you can't sell them, it's your fault. Yep. You screwed it up. They're super committed, super interested, super, dedicated to that. We work really hard. And we used lots of amazing copy and NLP and everything to get them there. So, but in the end, it's formulaic. It's not magical. That's the best part, right? People look from the outside, oh, you're such a great copywriter. Oh my God. And I kind of laugh. I'm like, I'll take all the admiration, but really, it's just a simple little system that anyone can learn. And I have taught so many people, and they're going out there killing it. If you understand, but see, when people teach copywriting, as we're going to talk about copywriting the steps now next, but they always talk about words, power words, free, this, that, use adjectives, blah, blah, blah. I never talk about words. Yeah. In my entire copywriting training, I talk about purpose behind the different segments of a presentation. Yep. Purpose. It's all about purpose. It's all about getting them to the next step. See, this is all interactive marketing, because through my copy, what I'm doing is interacting with the audience to keep their dang attention. Yeah. At 8 seconds, I got to go do a little song and dance for them, right? To keep them continue to watch. But if you structure your narrative and story and journey in certain ways, it'll do it for you. So interactive marketing, it's no longer good enough to just give someone a good message, a good product. No, you've got to literally interact with them through a virtual environment. You've got to get their commitment again and again and again through the message. And it's permission-based marketing, because today, guess what? I can hit click back any second. On Facebook, not only am I seeing your ad, I'm seeing 13 others. All right. On YouTube, I don't have to act on anything. I control. When I used to, before, if you sent me a letter, I don't have a choice. It's in my mailbox, right? If you disguise it well enough, I'm going to end up opening it. Billboards, they're in front of me. What am I going to do? Infomercials, I'm flipping through channels. What am I going to do? I can't see like 18 of them. I'm going to end up watching one. Today, you don't need to. You can shut all that stuff off. The consumer has innate control. So interactive marketing, without it, can't sell a thing.
Yeah, and notice he's talking about copywriting and interactive marketing. It is a skill set, which means it can be learned. Talk about a process. We're going to walk through it right now. We're going to round number 3. All right, round number 3. Let's dive into these 5 steps of copywriting, and where Anik is really going to walk you through exactly what these 5 steps are. Make sure you are taking notes. Step number 1, introduction. What does this look like? What is the purpose? Go.
All right. So before I do that, I'll take another self-promotional opportunity because it's my podcast. I can do whatever the heck I want. lurn.com/vote. Go there. There's a couple of fun questions. And then on the next page after you vote, you have an opportunity to get on the early bird list for a very awesome thing we're doing. 300 people. I will hard stop it. 6 weeks of me teaching you every week live on webinars. It's going to be epic. Less than the cost of a dinner for 2 at an average restaurant. See that in on itself?
I mean, come on,
it's
that's
copywriting
awesome.
right there. Do you hear that? Dinner for 2 at an average restaurant. It's copywriting. You can take all these things, and I'm going to teach you how to mimic them in your niche, how to take these phrases and replace words and use them. So you got to be there for the 6 weeks. lurn.com/copy. Watch your email. I'll bug you more about it through there. All right, now, introduction. Here's the thing. How many times have I seen a presentation start like this? Hello, everybody. My name is Anik Singal, and I will today, I'm here to present to you about the topic of copywriting and how powerful it can be in your... I don't care who you are, nor do I care why you're here. Man, I told you, it's permission-based marketing. Consumers innately have control today, okay? They have full control. You have no control as a marketer. Now, this could be a great thing for you as a marketer. It can also be a crappy thing for you as a marketer. So when you start with, hi, my name is Anik Singal, and this is why I'm here today, nobody cares about you. Let's face it. I'm sorry to tell you that. They don't care. What they care about is what's in it for them. So you know what? Today, in today's day and age, consumers have become so greedy that they want to know that they will learn something, or at least have some aha moment or some entertainment or some value from your pitch alone. Just from your sales message alone. They want to learn something. The easiest way today to create a sale is to create what I call aha moments. We'll talk about that in step 3. But in step 1, you've got to set the foundation of the aha moment coming, and you've got to convince your consumer that you're going to deliver something of value in that presentation. So a great start could be something to the degree of, if you've been getting a lot of traffic and haven't had a single sale, in this presentation, we're going to give you 5 reasons why that's happening, and you'll know exactly how to fix it. So let's get started. Something like that, where there's an immediate what's in it for them, right? There's an immediate what's in it for them. Now, you can go with direct what's in it for them, or you can also do an indirect what's in it for them. So, for example, I once saw an awesome email from Agora Financial, and I've been meaning to ask them if it's a true story or not. And funny enough, we're going to actually have Katie Vogel on. She's the CMO, Chief Marketing Officer of Agora. She's going to be on the podcast. And I plan on asking her if this was a true story or not. Probably during the rapid fire question, so she can't really think too hard about it. But I got an email that said that Agora had been broken into by the FBI. Right? Got my attention. I clicked, the video starts, and the video starts with pictures of people breaking in. And the video starts with, we were broken into last night, but only three files were stolen out of the entire place that had hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment. And we found remnants that proved to us that it was the FBI. Now, the joke's on them, because the 3 files they stole, we know exactly why they stole them, but we still have them. And the reason they stole them is they don't want this investment secret to get out, or something like that. And I was like, dude, as a copywriter, like, hands down, wow, got my attention. So you can use shock and awe as well. But see, again, there's a what's in it for me, because if you watch this presentation, you will come to learn what the files had in them that made the FBI steal them, or whatever. Maybe it wasn't the FBI, but it was someone who stole it. So the introduction is all about what's in it for me. In a written sales letter, that's your headline. You got a few seconds. We're going to watch your headline. In a VSL, 8 seconds. It's just like Microsoft said. In a webinar, a little bit longer. The reason you can take a couple of minutes in a webinar, maybe a few minutes, is because the series of commitment steps someone went through to even get to the webinar, they've clicked, logged in, yada, yada. They'll give you a little bit more luxury to mess around. But in an ad, think about this. Here we go. Scrolling, looking at my videos of my friends, happy cats and little babies and awesome. And I have like seconds that crap is scrolling by my screen. So if I don't stop, so that's copywriting. What's in it for me to stop? And so what's in it for me? Very simple concept. 95% of copy I see misses it completely.
Yeah. Is it because too many people are they're actually thinking about what it's in for them as the
They want to sell.
producer? Yeah, they want to sell.
They want to sell. That's why. They want to sell. People think the purpose of copy is selling. Here we go. Ready? Mind-blown moment coming in. 3, 2, 1. The purpose of copywriting is consumption. It's not selling. Consumption. The purpose of copywriting is to retain attention. Right. Because it's statistically proven, the longer you listen to me, the more likely you are to do what I'm asking you to do. As a matter of fact, some of the best negotiators in the world, I'm talking people that put together multi-billion-dollar deals for governments, the best negotiators, they are on the record. Part of their strategy is to exhaust the other party through hours and hours and hours of discussion. They'll go 12 hours in a day. And they say that you actually exhaust the other person into submission. So in copy, the longer you keep them, the challenge is keeping someone, because in a meeting, right, if you close the door and you're in a meeting, like, you're not going anywhere. But in copy, it's the back button. So the purpose of copy is not to sell. The purpose of copy is consumption.
That's why you'll see those long page copy forms where it's just like a sales page that's just scrolling for days.
And it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
People tell me that never works. Well, yeah, that never works for you because you're not interested in that topic. But if you're interested in the topic, you'll sit there and you'll read. And the longer you read, the more likely you are to buy.
Yep. How much of that would you consider the introduction? Is it just the headline that gets people going?
In a written sales page, it's the headline.
Yeah.
Maybe the first couple of paragraphs, max.
Okay.
It's the headline. The headline determines everything.
Okay. So whether you are doing an ad on Facebook, YouTube, whatever, or if you're doing a long form sales page, it's like that first couple of sentences, couple of seconds. Okay, got it. So we've got the introduction. That is step number 1. Let's get into round number 4. Round number 4, we are going to go into step number 2, and that is story. What does that mean? I think a lot of people are probably confused by that. They just start going off into storyland that has nothing to do with what they just got the attention on.
All right, so remember, as we talk about each of these steps, you have to remember one thing. If you're taking notes, write this down. Under each step, write down the purpose. The purpose. So the purpose of the step number 1 introduction was, what's in it for me? Now, the purpose of step number 2 is very misunderstood. So when I tell someone, if I tell an untrained person, hey, go tell me, you got to tell your story. You got to tell your story in copy, because people, I get that. Story's captivating, story's interesting, story's fun. Sure. So they start with, once upon a time when I was born and I was 3 years old, and then my mommy dropped me on the head, and then I got injuries and blah, blah, blah. It's just like, okay. Or the other mistake that some people that are very, very, very proud of themselves will make is, my name is Anik Singal. I'm a 2-time Inc. 500 CEO, blah, 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 blah. I've won 3, well, I haven't. So let's just say it's another person who's teaching copywriting. I've won 3 Pulitzer Prizes. I have 7 New York Times bestseller books. I've been interviewed on 32 radio stations and 59 national, blah, blah, blah. I have a master's and a PhD in English.
Okay, what now?
Thank you. I don't want to learn from you because I have nothing, neither of what you just said. And I am nowhere near as smart as you. So story is completely misunderstood. The purpose of story, Jeremy, is relatability. It's relatability, because I don't want to know you're awesome. I want to know you're dumb just like me. I want to know you're average just like me. I want to know you are a normal human being just like me. But you've got amazing results because of something that you have that I also can have. That's believable for me to have, and that is your product, your system, your knowledge. But if I can't be you, the prime example I use for this is, Jeremy, we have an ongoing joke. I said this to you all the time. Jeremy, by the way, at Lurn is known to be Batman. That's his favorite character. He loves to be Batman. And sometimes, I swear to God, when he first joined the company, there was a few times he came in with black eyes and stuff, or like hurt or limping or whatever. And I was like, what do you do at night, right? So I could easily say, Jeremy, you should go out and fight crime every night. You should jump off of buildings and you should fly through the sky and save people because Batman does it. And I could be dead serious, looking in the eyes, judging you. How do you not save lives every night? Batman does it. And you'd probably reply, I'm not Batman, right? I'm not a...
That's what you think.
That's exactly. This is the one wrong example because I actually do think Batman, I actually do think Jeremy flies through the night and saves lives and takes cats off of trees. But in most people's example, they would say, I'm not Batman. I'm not a multi-billionaire. I don't have a guy in a hidden garage underneath a lake that's tinkering and developing multi-billion-dollar gadgets for me. But if I turned to the same person and said, hey, listen, Batman is standing at the corner of the street. He needs a ride to the other side of town so he can go save some people. Like, could you just give him a ride? Most people would be like, sure, we can do that. So Robin, they could be Robin. They can help Batman. They just don't want to be Batman. And so Batman versus Robin is the example I use to tell the story because don't ever be Batman. The only time you want to be Batman in your own story is if you're selling yourself. If you're selling yourself as a coach or a consultant, be Batman all day because they're buying you. So they want to see the value of you. But if you're selling something else, don't sell yourself because in the end, two things are going to either happen. Either A, they're not going to connect with you and they're going to run, or B, they're going to want you, not your product. So both cases you lose. And so relatability is incredibly important. When I teach copywriting, even in this very podcast episode, if you go back and you review, you'll notice how I made a point at the very beginning to say that I got a D-. My first ever D- was in writing, was in English. Because I want people to understand very early on that the reason I'm such a good copywriter and the reason I've sold close to a $250 million isn't because I'm a brilliant writer. It's because the system is so awesome that anyone can use it to turn it into great copy. And I can do all of that subconsciously in someone's mind by simply making them understand factually that I sucked as a writer. And I immediately set up relatability. Here's the best part about it. Most people will not be good writers. We know that. So they will relate to me. Even the ones who are good writers won't be taken aback. So if I tell them, hey, I got a D- in writing, they'll be, oh, that's so bad. Well, hey, I'm good at writing, so whatever he's going to say will really apply to me. I can learn a lot, or I could do even better than him. So that's a great place to be versus someone else who's not good at writing saying, dude, you got a D- in writing. I mean, if he can do it, I can do it. That's the purpose of a great story. So make it about, so the best way to tell a great story is to make it, all great stories are journeys. Remember that. All great stories are journeys. That's why movies are good. The best of best movies are always a journey. So make it about your journey to discovering the product you're selling and set your product up as Batman and yourself up as Robin. That's how you establish relatability, and that's how you tell a powerful story in copy.
And throughout this step, throughout even telling the story, your main goal is not selling anything in particular other than continued attention, right? Consumption. Right.
Why am I telling a journey? Because I'm going to capitalize on the amazing power of open and closed loops. If I start with, so Jeremy, right now, if I was like, hey, Jeremy, yesterday when we got back from Canada, I was on the way home, or when I reached home, I opened the door and all of a sudden I heard a really loud sound and something came absolutely running down. My heart was pounding. I couldn't tell what it was. All right, I'll talk to you later.
What was it?
Yeah. You're like, what was it? How can you do that?
Yeah.
Great open loop. So great stories create automatic open loops that need to be closed so the consumer stays until it's closed. And if a great copywriter, if you listen to the 5 steps I give you, you don't ever close that loop until the very end. And the close of all the loops is usually buy my stuff. So
awesome.
Consumption.
Awesome. So whether it is your introduction or your story, understand the purpose. What are you looking to focus on? Grab attention, hold attention, and be able to create relatability through the story, be able to open and close loops. Let's go on to round number 5. All right, let's dig into round 5 with step number 3, and that is content. Now we're getting to the meat of this. So explain content. What is going to be in this with copy?
All right, awesome. So I do want to, our producer Joe during the break, he just reminded me that the episode right before this one, what episode number would that be, Joe? 55, episode number 55. I actually have my live presentation I did at Fred Lamb's event where I talked a lot about these 5 steps, and that was years ago. And it's crazy to see how I've evolved and how I've evolved in teaching it. But hey, the basics are the basics. Content. Okay. Go back to purpose, right? Every step we need to understand the purpose of the step. Now, when you go back 20, 30 years ago, and this is why I say what you learned 20, 30 years ago does not work. People would say, never, ever, ever teach anything in your marketing. You will kill the sale. Now, you would also say a lot. People, what do they say? How's it go? Sell the sizzle, not the steak?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Can I ask you something? I find that saying very ironic and very weird, because when's the last time you went to a steakhouse and said, yeah, can you just bring me a sizzling, buttery, garlicky, amazing slab of meat? Like, you don't say that. You say, I'll take a 7-ounce, 8-ounce, I don't know anything about steaks, so help me out.
You sell the result.
Yeah, you ask for a specific steak that you want, and then you add on. So I actually think that's the stupidest saying ever, because you actually do sell the steak. Yeah. You have to sell the steak. You can't just sell the sizzle. It's complete BS. But 20, 30 years ago, maybe you could. But today, consumers have wised up. Here's why. Jeremy, recommend me anything. Give me a product that you like. Tell me any name of anything.
Your product, iPad.
iPad. You like an iPad? Okay. Do I want to buy an iPad? Here we go. I go to Google. I type in, is iPad a good investment? Okay. Jeremy, according to you it is, but now according to 32,000 other people that are at my disposal, at the click of a finger, it is not. Hence, the consumer has so much control. The consumer can review everything. The consumer knows. And so this goes back to what I said. The consumer doesn't want you to just pitch them. In today's copy, they want to have aha moments. They want to learn. So content has become very key. But the content that the most masterful copywriters and salespeople in the world are going to master this concept right here. The what, not the how. Give the what, not the how. And I think that's what they meant 20, 30 years ago when they said, don't give content in your marketing, don't give content. And what they meant to say is, don't give the how. But that makes sense. Don't give the how, but give the what. But this is where it becomes truly masterful. Can you create aha moments in someone's mind? Note this right now. Before I tell you the final purpose of content, when I get to it, a sale happens in the content, nowhere else. This is the part. This is the step. Step number 3. This is where it will be determined whether you get a sale or not. I'm going to give an example, a story from my life when I was at an event and I was speaking. And, I gave what I thought was a powerful, powerful, powerful presentation, I thought. Now, there was someone else who was going to come in behind it and then present an offer. They did not do a very good job presenting the offer. Yet, we still killed it. Sales were amazing. It's because the sale happens in the content. And the reason and how it happens, and this is where the masterful part comes, can you create aha moments with the what without giving the how? I'll tell you right now. Okay, Jeremy, we all know, right? Losing weight. The way to lose weight, eat less, drink more water, move more. I mean, at the core.
Yeah, at the heart of it, those are the fundamentals.
The heart of it, that's what it is, right? Yet there is a multi-trillion-dollar industry, in my opinion, around the weight loss space. If I came on a pitch and I said, ladies and gentlemen, today I will teach you how to lose weight and blah, 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 blah. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to eat less, we're going to drink more water, and we're going to move more, and we're going to do it again. All right, now if you could just pay me $2,000 for my coaching program, I would really appreciate you. People would be like, what the? No, there's no aha there. You gave the how. There's nothing. Now, let's just turn it around. Same 3 core steps, okay? Step number 1, ladies and gentlemen, I call it the PALM method. I will teach you how to eat anything you want, and as often as you want, as long as you follow the PALM method, you will lose weight. They're like, what?
What's the PALM method?
Yeah, what's the PALM method? All right? And basically just the PALM method is like the size of the food cannot be bigger than the size of your palms. I'm forcing you to eat less. Yep. But I didn't say that. Okay, number 2 is drink more water. All right, so number 2, we'll show you how to melt fat away by creating a hyper-hydration routine before 10 a.m. every morning that'll allow you to literally boost your metabolism throughout the day.
Man, that sounds lovely. I'm just going to go ahead and drink some more water right now.
I don't know what that means. Exactly. You don't know what it means, but you're like, dude, sounds good. I'm just telling you to drink more water. Number 3, all right? Number 3, I'm going to tell you how to... we're going to call it the heart. I'm basically making all this crap up on the spot, by the way, okay?
So do not follow any of this advice.
I am not a fitness expert at all.
all the
So I told
disclaimers.
Someone did tell me once about the palm method, and I said, well, if I stacked the pizza on top of it, and it was still the size of my palm, could I eat it all? And they said no. Anyway, so step number 3, right? We said originally when it was boring, it was move more. So step number 3, I could be like the heart accelerator method. You know, how to put your body in fat burning mode before 8:30 every morning. And basically what I'm going to do is tell you to get up and do 50 jumping jacks right out of bed, so that your heart rate goes up and your metabolism kicks off. So all of a sudden, though, you've got to look at how things are positioned. I'm creating ahas. Someone's like, whoa. The biggest aha in the weight loss industry, I feel like, was when the Atkins diet came out. And they were like, fat's not the problem. You can eat as much beef and bacon as you possibly want. It's not the problem. It's carbs. And people were like, huh? Yeah. And then they came up with some scientific proof, and people are like, holy crap. And Atkins took off. And then from there, it's rolled out to so many other programs. So content is about, here's the purpose, right? Here's a drum roll. The purpose of content is credibility. Most people think the purpose of story is credibility. It's not. The purpose of content is credibility. The only way I can sell you is by factually proving to you that I know more than you, and that I know a sizable amount more than you that's going to make you want to be around me. Yeah. Or that I have a product that's sizably more amazing than anything you could get, so you're going to want to be around me or my product. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is only delivered through the substance of it. The best videos that sell a physical product are demo videos, where people are seeing demonstrating the product. That's content. They're showing what it does, and but they're not showing you how to build it. Right. That'd be stupid, right? So
well, research shows that if you can speak to and articulate the pain of someone else and really understand the problem more than they can, then you innately become the authority that they want to understand from. They want to have those aha moments from. I mean, you've probably seen this consistently in copywriting. Anything else about content that creates those breakthrough moments? Sure. Yeah.
So I call it linear thinking. This is the last tip I'll give for free. And then other than that, go to lurn.com/copy and get on my pre-launch list for the 6-week-long masterclass.
It's less than that steak and sizzle that you'd be able to get at a crappy restaurant.
You'll get both steak and sizzle and the silverware to eat it with. If you go to lurn.com/copy.
And the extra agua to enjoy.
I already forgot that. Oh, linear thinking. That's what I was talking about. Yes. So linear thinking is a big part of diagrams. You got to make diagrams. All right. People, here's the thing. If you go to an event, and I've been to events like this, where it's just like, it's awesome. You're just being given like, okay, so I'll do a sample right now. Let's say we went to an investing event. So Jeremy, I'm going to teach you how to invest your money. Okay, ready? So Jeremy, you need to make sure that you have excess income, and then when you take that income, we're going to put a portion of that into stocks, portion of it into mutual funds. We're going to put a portion of it into something called captive insurance. We're going to put a portion of it into the Forex market. We're going to take some of it, put into an emergency fund over at Fidelity. And then from there, what we want to make sure you do is that once you have X amount of money, we want to get you into real estate. But once you have X amount of money, you need to be into apartments. And then from there, we need to come back to the mutual funds and put more money into mutual funds and more money into stocks. But then once you have X amount of money, okay. So exactly, right? Enough of that. I'm going to lose you. Now, if I slow down, you might be a little bit like, whoa, awesome. Yeah, wow, apartments. I never thought about that. I should do multifamily, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then all of a sudden, when you leave, you're like, yeah, learn. That was awesome. And then you walk out of the event and someone's like, what'd you learn? You're like, I have no idea. What do I do first? Oh my God. So that's a human mind is a linear mind. We think in linear things. That's why it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's A, B, C, D. It's letters.
What was that again? Wait, what was it?
I don't need to know letters.
You don't need to know
copywriter, all right?
You don't need to know letters. You don't need to know the alphabet.
So, no. That's proof of it. Shut up. It's my podcast, all right? You cannot make fun of me. All right. So anyways, what the heck was that talking about? Linear. All right.
Linear thinking, yes.
Anytime you see a sales message from me, you're going to see a diagram. And you're going to see me work through the diagram, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Even teaching copywriting, we have 5 steps. Yeah. And there's a linear diagram. When you do it this way, you can't lose someone. They know where you are. They know where they are. They know what they need to learn. They know what they need to do next. Again, open loop, closed loop. When you say, here's step 1 of 5 steps, they're not going to leave until they see all 5 steps. Yeah. It's just harder to leave because they want to know what the 5 steps are. Last piece is don't get carried away with the aha moments. 3 to 5 max, depending on the price of your product. So if your price of the product is lower, 3 is probably overkill, but 3 is enough. If the price of your product is higher, it's probably 5. Now, we've talked about this, right? Jeremy, you train people in sales and, as you call, enrollment all the time. And you always you call them breakthrough sessions when someone's talking to someone on the phone. This is not a sales call. And you've always told, if you've always said this, and you're 100% right, if on the phone you can get someone that you're talking to, that you're going to sell someone something that's super expensive, or a high investment, I should say, get them to have a breakthrough.
Yeah, it's necessary.
Get them to have a breakthrough.
It's necessary.
They need to see something. They need to change their paradigms. If they have a breakthrough, it doesn't matter what's on the other side of it. They're ready to move forward. That's exactly what ahas do. And you want a 3 or 5 max. That's it.
We actually refer to it as a higher identity breakthrough.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, you're not going to put any significant level of investment into a lower level identity of who you are. If you're the person that procrastinates, you're the person that doesn't take action, you're the person that has bought course after course and it's never worked out, because innately you kind of know, I didn't really follow through, I didn't prioritize it. We're not going to continue investing in that person, certainly not at a value that would be significant. So you've got to have that higher identity breakthrough. Totally agree with you. I love the 3 to 5 aha moments. Anything more to that, you're saying it's just absolutely overkill.
The rest of it's in the 6-week workshop.
Okay. So I absolutely love one thing. We just kind of made fun of it a little bit here, which is you don't need to know the alphabet. If you were to tell your English teacher when you were growing up that you made $250 million using the written word, would she think that you're crazy or what?
Man, I still want to run into her one day. I hold no ill will. I love her. I tell the story. That story's made me millions, so I appreciate her for having given me the story. I deserved her frustration. I deserved every ounce of her remarks. I drove that woman to the bare end. And that was the worst thing she ever said to me. But she did say, please do us all a favor and don't ever write for a living. And at that time, I was like, the only thing I'm going to be writing are prescription pads, so screw you. I feel really bad. I never wanted to learn to write well. I always just wanted to trick a good grade out of her. I was trying to bully her. And I had succeeded at doing that in the past with teachers. And she put her foot down. And because she put her foot down, she made me, she helped me one way or the other. I still write like crap by her eyes. If she were to read my writing now, she'd say, you still do the same stupid mistakes. But the thing is, I'm an effective writer because my writing is consumed.
Well, and they call it a bestseller, not a best written.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is, I love that story.
I would love to send her a signed copy of my book. And the only reason I haven't done it is because then she might go looking around and then she'll hear me talk bad about her. And, I was like, and she kind of scared me a little bit. So I don't really want to get there.
How grateful are you for her that she was able to open this whole world of copywriting to you?
Hey, her telling me to never write for a living just made me millions of dollars. That story has done so well. So I appreciate her.
All right. So let's go ahead and move on to round number 6. All right, so round number 6, and we are on step number 4, and that is the transition. So we've talked about the introduction, the story, the content. Now we're transitioning. What does that look like?
Sure. Okay. So for most people, this is what it looks like. They're super energetic during the training. So they're like, all right, guys, now step number 5 is blah, 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 blah. Yes, all right, and da-da-da-da. And okay, ladies and gentlemen, so that brings us to the end of our presentation. And now I would like to tell you about this this product that we have that's it's really, really awesome. And you guys all laugh right now, but do you know how many presentations I watch that do this? And it's because the person is scared of selling. That's all. They're nervous about going into a moment of awkwardness where you asking for money is awkward. Yeah. All right, most people feel awkward about it. I don't. You don't. Yeah. But
do you think it's also a way of the way that they structure it? It's literally like, okay, here's this, and this, and then here's when I sell.
Yeah, it's exactly because they feel like they have to do that,
right.
And then you're actually telling the other person like, okay, I'm done giving you value, so now you can leave.
Buy from me.
And now I'm just going to take your time to pitch you something. So that doesn't work, but that's how most transitions look. Transitions will almost always be the shortest part of your presentation. And I always tell you this: if you are new to selling, and if it does make you uncomfortable. A lot of people who are great teachers at heart innately are uncomfortable with selling. I get it. It makes sense. So what I always tell them is rip the Band-Aid. Move in. Move on. All right? The purpose of transition is very simple. If you've done a great job in step 1, 2, and 3, you've kind of developed a friendship with the person because you've been teaching them, training them, helping them learn something that got, warm, fuzzy feelings towards you. And so it's how awkward would it be, Jeremy, if we met, we're friends, we hang out sometimes, and if we met randomly one day and I was like, Jeremy, $32. It's an amazing pen, my friend. This pen will change your life. $32 right now. What's it going to be? Take it out right now. Come on. Pull out your wallet.
I don't need a pen.
Yeah. Well, beyond that, you would walk away from that being like, what the heck is wrong with that guy? Why Anik trying to sell me a pen? So it's awkward like that, right? So what happens is when you move into the part where you're going to ask someone for money, the other person's basically thinking, oh man, I thought we were friends. Now why do you want my money? Why are you asking me for stuff? So let's address the elephant in the room before it becomes an elephant. All right? So let's literally get to it. The purpose of transition is answer the why. Why are you asking me for money? And it's actually a very simple thing sometimes. So, ladies and gentlemen, the ticket to come to our live event is $97. And that's being used just so we can cover the cost of the venue and the staff and the AV so that we can cover the cost. Everyone says, oh, well, sure, no problem. Cost of this book, $15. No one ever asks, why is it 15? Well, duh, it's got printed, shipped, warehoused, took money. So when you're selling something that's coaching, consulting, that's digital, people tend to say, oh, come on, there's no hard cost to you. Except for when you explain and say, hey, listen, this is my full-time business. This is how I have a staff of 60 plus people that, I've got to feed and they've got to, so I just, this is my bread and butter. And by being able to invest in this, it gives me the opportunity to have better staffing for you, better coaching for you, and to be able to give you more and more of my time. And usually people say, I get it. So the why, real quick. Boom. And if you feel uncomfortable, you don't even go into it, just skip right past it. Just move on. So go from step 5, and your whole transition could be as simple as, all right, ladies and gentlemen, if you found that to be interesting, I want to talk to you about how we could work together for the next 12 months, and then just move right into the pitch. And that's fine. Right? But I have seen some debacles. You can totally screw up a pitch. You can screw up a sold opportunity in a transition if you make it awkward. But that's it. It's really simple. It's meant to be super short.
So it's really just having the courage to respect the person you're speaking to enough to say, listen, if you enjoyed that, then this, or it's being able to just share with them up front, like, this is why, if you are looking to move forward beyond this point, this is why it takes an investment. On
webinars, one of the CE simplest transitions I set up in the introduction, like after I finish telling them what's in it for them, I say, hey, listen, today I'm going to spend the next 90 minutes teaching you, coaching you, showing you everything. We'll be on ScribblePad. We'll be on live demos. You're going to walk away with a ton of knowledge. Now, if I blow your minds and I give you tremendous value, I want your permission at the end. You give me your permission at the end. If I can then tell you about an offer we have where we will work together for the next 90 days together. Is that fair? Everyone okay with that? Can I get your permission right now that if I blow your minds with amazing content that you can execute on, and then I'll ask you for permission to share a program where we can work for 90 days? Everyone says yes. Yep. And then when you get to the transition, you can say, all right, everybody, now that I've shared this, how many of you think that what I shared was worth the 90 minutes you were here? How many of you learned something, got some great knowledge out of it? Awesome. Yes, pouring in. Cool. Well, do I have your permission right now to then share with you an opportunity for us to work together for the next 90 days? Can you just type in a yes? Brilliant transition.
Yeah. Notice he's using permission. He's getting permission from someone and then empowering them to make the decision, right? I think that's huge because, and that really runs throughout the entire, the entire company of Lurn, right? It's what you talk about. It's going from being able to serve someone to really just being genuinely being able to serve them as opposed to sell them, right? And it really, the way I look at it is you're never going to be able to speak to the heart of someone if you first insult their intelligence by making it seem like this is not something where you're going to offer something or not a presentation where you're just going to, just sell them without them knowing. Asking permission is huge. It's huge.
Permission-based marketing is where we're moving. Interactive marketing is built off the foundation of permission-based marketing.
Yeah. So that is the transition. Doesn't take a lot of time, but it takes a lot of intention. And it certainly takes a lot of courage. So let's move on to the final round, round number 7. All right, round number 7, we're going to go into step number 5. Now, this is, I'm sure you're going to say it, where a lot of people struggle. This is now the pitch. What is it that looks like?
Yeah. Dare I say this? The pitch might be the least important part of a presentation.
Uh-oh.
Right? People think that the pitch, here's the biggest, because we have to talk about the purpose, right? So we'll get right to the purpose. The people think that the purpose of the pitch is to get the sale. Right. All right, so now let me just absolutely use a simple example to prove you completely wrong. When you're watching a webinar, every single person who's listening to this has probably been on some webinar or has had that insurance salesman in their house sitting at the dining table.
Man, that would be exhausting.
Right? So so you're on a webinar. Please tell me something. Are you not expecting there to be a pitch? I've asked this question so many times in front of live audiences. 99% are like, of course there's going to be a pitch. We know there's going to be a pitch. Okay, great. You know that. We all know that. If a guy walks into your house in a suit and briefcase and you've asked him to be there and he's going to talk to you about life insurance, you know there's going to be a pitch. You're asking for it. You're expecting it. Okay, great. So we have established that. Now, if you make it through the introduction, through the story, and through the content, and through the transition, remember, you're on a webinar. You can leave any time. No one would know. Nothing embarrassing. Like, no one will actually know. You'll just hit X and you're out. If you're still here, though, you're still there. Why? You're sold. You're sold. You wouldn't stay. You know what? Every webinar I've ever done, 5 to 10% of people leave right when I start my pitch. Always. And I don't get offended anymore. I don't even try to defy the numbers. 5 to 10% leave. And that's fine. They weren't sold. It wasn't for them. They're not interested. My pitch could have dancing whatever. Yeah. It could have the best offer in the world. It could be this. It could be that. They're not interested. Right now, if someone comes to me and says, these golf clubs, most epic golf clubs ever. Only 100 of them were ever made. They're amazing. Anik, you got to buy them. I'll give you 90% off. They're only $2,000.
You guys have no idea about this man's golf game. It is...
I have no golf game. Last time I held a golf club.
Exactly. No one knows about
no one
golf
knows
game
about
at all.
my completely missing golf. Okay, $2,000. 90% off. Right now. Only 100 of them made. Only thing I would do is maybe take a second to check them on eBay to see if I could resell them for $10,000. But other than that, I'm not interested. You could do whatever you want. I don't play golf. I have no use for them. They're going to rot. I want to spend $2,000 on it. So that's 5-10%. They leave. But if you stay, you're sold. So what's the only question on their mind at that point? What's the only question on their mind?
What's the cost?
How much?
Yeah.
That's it. That's it, right? So at the pitch, the purpose of the pitch is not to get a sale. The purpose of a pitch is to confirm a sale. Here's how it works. In a pitch, so I always use this this analogy and this kind of visual where I want you to go look at like 20, 30 years ago, like a stereotypical married couple, man, woman, roles that they play. Like you've got, I always say women are more like the caretakers and they're the emotional ones and men are more like skeptical and all of that. So let's just play into that stereotype for a minute. An insurance salesman walks into the house. He looks around. He sees toys on the floor. He sees little Barbie dolls and he sees like cars. So he's going to assume right there's a girl and a boy in this house. All right, he sits down at the table. Right now it's 1 against 2. It's him against this couple. A smart one is going to start by talking about the children. Is going to start by building that up. And the smart one is going to pick one of the two and turn that person to their side. So that the battle to get the sale, to confirm the sale, becomes 2 against 1. And they're probably going to do it by speaking to the emotional side of the caregiver about the children and their safety and their future and securing it. And at some point, it's going to become 2 against 1. And typically, you'll look at the guy whose arms are crossed and doesn't really like the idea of mortality, right? So he's like, whatever, this is a scam. This guy just wants to take our money. I'm never going to die. No one's going to die. And that's how a sale relationship in copywriting actually, in my opinion, happens. And you got your subconscious and you got your conscious. That's the married couple. That's the husband and this wife. Your subconscious, I always like to say, imagine the conscious mind has given the subconscious mind like 5 cards a month. You got 5 cards. If you want to buy something, because you get all excited about everything you want to buy, so if you want to buy something, you have 5 opportunities to turn a card over to me, and I will then logically review your request. Not guaranteeing I'll buy it, I'll review it. So what's happening in this is step 1, 2, and 3, we're talking to the subconscious. We're getting the subconscious excited. We're getting the subconscious all sold and into it. What we want to do during the transition is confirm that the subconscious hands one of their 5 cards over to the conscious and says, please, can you review this? I want in. That's why when you screw up a transition and you make it all awkward, the subconscious is halfway giving the card and says, whoa, what just happened? What's going on? They pull the card back. So the conscious mind, when it receives the card, says, okay, fine, let's look at what does this guy got? They don't care about all the emotional stuff. The conscious mind just says, if I give you $1, are you giving me 10 back? That's what I want to know. Is what you give me back, is it worth 10 times what you're giving me? 100 times, 5 times, 50 times, whatever. So the purpose of a pitch is to build ridiculous value. That's it. Because if you do that, the person will say, geez, I really love the product. I love the concept. I really believe I can learn from this. And man, it's a great value. Like, how could I not do this? It's ridiculous. I'm going to do it. If I give $1, I get 10 back. So the purpose of a great pitch is confirm the sale, to build such ridiculous value. Remember one thing in the end, people are greedy. It's just how we are. It's nothing wrong about it. I'm not saying anything bad. We're greedy. Like, I'm greedy. Even though I give back a lot, I'm still greedy. I want the best of the deal. I can tell you right now, I always tell this story about my house that we bought. You know, my wife and I were struggling to buy a house. We kept putting money down on things and it wouldn't work out. And finally, we found the most beautiful home. I was in love with it. It was way outside of what we had budgeted, but we could afford it. And my wife was like, no. And then we walked into the model house one day, and she's like, okay, yes, like, let's do this. I'm in. And we put the money down, and 6 months go by. They won't break ground. And we're like, yet again, the third or fourth opportunity at that point. Fourth house we put money on. They won't build it. 6 months in, I call my lawyer, who had helped negotiate the deal. And here's the other thing that's happening. The day I put my money down on that house and they confirmed the sale and the contract was ratified, I had a panic attack because it was the largest purchase I ever made in my life. And I was freaking out. What if we want to move? What if we don't like the house? What if the house isn't good? What if this? What if that? And so by 6 months, when the house wasn't being built, I actually took it as kind of a sign. And then I wanted it out. I was like, I don't know, did I do the wrong thing? I'm freaking out. Okay. So one day I get an email from the builder. It says, please sign this attached addendum. We'd like to get out of the deal and not build your house and give you your deposit back. So I thought, geez, that's amazing. I have an opportunity to get out of this thing now. And, but I was curious, why did they suddenly change their tune? So I asked my lawyer to go talk to them. Turns out the builder was very honest. The builder said, we found out that this is too good of a deal and that we will not make any money on this house. We gave you the best lot, the best house, all the best features, and we under-negotiated. You over-negotiated, like in the sense of this is too good of a deal. My lawyer comes back and tells me that, and I said, you make sure they build that house right now or I will sue them and da, da, da. All of a sudden, I want nothing but the house. I want 2 of them. Build the one next door too and connect them. The same deal, because I knew that I was getting a deal. So you take that psychology and you make someone in your pitch feel like they're getting such a good deal that they would be stupid to walk away. That's the purpose of a pitch. And you do that through value stacking, which we have a very simple formula that we give. I have an 8-point formula for which we do pitches, and it just ends up value stacking. So that's a great pitch right there.
I mean, this is awesome. Guys, if you are taking notes, and again, make sure you can go to Anikpodcast.com, get all the show notes, and you'll have it all laid out there for you. But just to recap, so going over those 5 steps, you've got the introduction, right, being able to grab attention. You've got the story, you've got the content, you've got the transition, and then you've got the pitch. Got it. So let's add a bonus round here, and this is going to be round number 8 for you. Round number 8. Here's what we're going to do. Anik, you're talking about this. You're recently announced that you are tripling down on being able to train and really make sure people understand copywriting and the value of it and how to execute it. What does that look like?
All right. So next 12 months, starting today, I am really committing to this using a lot of resources, YouTube, this podcast, training classes I do. So far, the lowest cost product we've had where you can learn copywriting, which people have just loved, has been Copywriting Academy, which even that I dropped back by half in price. So it was $697. But to kick off this new thing we're doing for the next 12 months, I'm going to invest 6 weeks. It's actually probably going to be closer to 8 weeks probably, with some pre-training before the official 6 weeks starts, where we get on once a week live, and I'll do a ton of training. We'll record it all. Everyone who gets into it will have access to the recordings. I'll do live Q&A, live demonstrations, live reviews, and I'll walk everyone through details of the 5 steps. We're going to talk about each: emails, action pages, written sales letters, video sales letters, webinars. We're going to do sessions on all of them. And I'm only going to take 300 people into it, and I keep stressing the fact fact that people are like, oh, this sounds expensive, Anik's time and all. Yeah, usually anything with my time is super expensive. This one, for the entire package, the entire 6 weeks, the investment will be less than the cost of dinner for two at an average restaurant. And that's all I'm going to reveal right now.
Yeah.
The rest of it, if you want to learn more, what you can do is you can go to lurn.com/vote, LURN.com/vote, VOTE. There's a couple questions there that are fun, and then fill them out, and then when you hit submit on the next page, you'll be given an opportunity to put your name in the hat for being one of the first people to know about this program when it releases. We don't have the exact date yet, but it's coming very soon. It's going to be this month. We're releasing this episode in June, so it'll be in June. If you're listening later, then it's already out and maybe gone. But it's a hard limit, 300 people. So probably going to hit that on the day one that we open it. And this is what I'm going to do now. For the next year, I'm going to constantly... Now, I don't know if I'll do this masterclass again. I will probably do it again, but definitely not at the same cost. So the first one will be just to kind of kick things off. More training, more courses. My next book is about copywriting. I'm going to double, triple, quadruple down. I want Lurn Nation to master copywriting because I think that's what's going to set these entrepreneurs on fire.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And make sure if you are watching this on YouTube, comment below how much you appreciate. I mean, Anik being able to and willing to step on the other side of this and share this with you. This is truly his creative genius when it comes to copywriting, the best in the world. I can tell you that without a shadow of a doubt. Many respected experts, so many of them that really, publicly endorse Lurn. They see you as the best copywriter in the world. You guys are going to be learning right from him. Now, I want to get into something that I've been really excited for. I know you're going to really love this. This is the rapid fire round. Joe's loving it. He's excited about it. So we are going to get into a few rapid fire questions where Anik took the oath. So he gets to be completely honest, and this is nothing but the truth. So let's get into the rapid fire round. All right, let's get into the rapid fire round. Here we go. Anik. You will make it out of here alive, I promise. So, rapid fire number one. What is the one thing that you would want to leave as a legacy or teach a future child of yours, a future little Anik or Anik Singal?
Anika. I assure you, Andrew will not allow me to name our daughter Anika. That's not happening. It's funny. My nephew was visiting a few months ago, you remember, and I ended up teaching him one night how to speak on stage.
That was awesome.
And the kid picked up on it so quick, and then he spoke the next day on stage, and I was such a proud uncle. Like, yes. I was just...
I learned so much about dinosaurs.
Yeah, he was talking about dinosaurs, and he loved it. And he asks every time, how can I come back? When can I do it again? You know what? I honestly think I would teach... I will teach... actually, we are teaching. We're starting youth entrepreneurship training at Lurn, and one of the first things, sales. Copywriting, sales, speaking on stage, getting out there, being able to influence. I think that's the number one skill. Forget business. I don't care if my kids don't go into business, but if you learn how to influence, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. Exactly when do you feel like you might be actually sharing this lesson?
Well, I mean, I share it all the time with the youth of the world. In August, we'll be running training for the Maryland youth.
All right.
Little kids. Yeah.
All right. So after 15 plus years, what excites you most still about business entrepreneurship? What really fuels you after so long of doing this now?
Creation. Honestly, I just love, I don't like managing things, but I love creating things. And I think that today more than ever, we have such an opportunity, and we have so many more problems today than we did 20 years ago. It's weird. Yeah. We've solved more problems in the last 20 years than we did in the last 100, but yet we have more problems in the last, today than we did 20 years ago. Problems create opportunities. And I think that there's just such amazing things happening. There's such an amazing room for entrepreneurs to step up and create value. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm excited about what I'm going to create that day. Whether it be something like this podcast, this is creating something. God, if 2 people listen, and their lives change even 5%, that's well worth an hour plus of our time. Some people might be, we did that. I did this kind of an interview with Grant Cardone. It's had, 700,000 views. Yeah. And I get stopped at gas stations, people saying, I saw you at Grant Cardone. That interview changed my life. I mean, can you imagine? What did that really take? A day? We traveled down there in the morning, came back in the evening. And that impact, that was creation. That's so cool. I just get jazzed about that.
Yeah. Is that kind of the one thing that you value now? So many entrepreneurs, they're at different stages. At the stage you're at now, what do you value most?
Yes. Right now, my ability, it's funny, I talk about this with you, right? It's it's got a plus and a minus. My ability to reach the masses is a total plus. I love being able to get a message out. I love being able to teach people, talk to people, help people. I do have a small minor panic attack when I'm walking or when I'm peeing at a urinal and someone looks over and says, "Are you Anik Singal?" And I'm like, "Ah!" I don't think I really like that part. I mean, eventually, I'm just weird. Like I'm an introvert. I'm not an extrovert. So, but I love the fact that, man, are you kidding me? Like this morning we woke up and I had something to share and I hit the send button and 1.2 million people heard about it. Every week we get thousands of downloads on this podcast. Every week we get thousands of views on YouTube. Like, holy crap, we couldn't do this 20, 30 years ago. I could help people and get my message out, and every single person watching right now can do the same. That's cool. Like, you gotta celebrate that. It's awesome.
Yeah. So if tomorrow your everything was gone and your memory was completely wiped clean and you know that this is coming, what is the one thing, or maybe like the three things you would write yourself today to make sure that you are able to get back to this place in half the time?
First thing would be to make sure I find Andrea and marry her again. Because I got to tell you, for all you guys out there who are single, a great woman in your life truly can make all the difference in the world.
Plus, Anik and Anika need a father.
Anika. Jeremy, you need a damn woman in your life. That's where I'm getting at with this. I'm trying to turn this back on you. Number two, I know what you're really looking for is like more businessy things. Number two, I would say find one channel that I can get my message out through and devote all my time to it. I did this with email 15 years ago. I'm not saying you have to do email now. If you can, great. Doing email is awesome, but it's just there's a lot of channels now, and it's not the right fit for a lot of people. You got YouTube, you got Instagram, you got everything. I mean, just find a channel, get double, triple down, make hours and hours of content, because that once you have audience that you have an influence over, you'll make money. I mean, once you have an audience that you have an influence over, you will make money. There are case studies of like little kids that do it, $20 million a year opening toys, right? Because they have an audience and they have influence over the audience. The third thing that I would write down for myself from a business standpoint, again, is learn how to attract an audience through paid traffic. Because here's the thing, we were talking about this yesterday on the flight back. I don't believe in this nonsense. I don't have any money. I don't have any money. I don't have any money to invest in business. This is bull crap. Man, you got Uber now. Anyone tells me they're broke, I'm getting your damn car and get an Uber. Yeah. All right? What you have is a high ego and a lack of resourcefulness.
You think it's below you and you don't want to start there?
Yeah. Man, I will work at McDonald's. I will clean. I will wash bathrooms. I don't care. If that means I can make some money and put that into a separate account so I save money for my business.
God, you're so right. I think so many people are more willing to hold their dream for ransom than to just go do something that can allow them to fund it.
I've done it all, man. When I was $1.7 million in debt, someone came and offered me $500 to write copy for them. My copy was worth tens of thousands, but that $500 was available at that moment, at that time, and I knew for a couple hours of work I could get it. I took it. I've worked jobs. I've literally, when I was dead broke, I was doing consulting gigs for people that I did not like at all, that I did not want to work with, but it was money, and I did it. And I would do the same thing today or tomorrow. That's the difference. That's why people like entrepreneurs who are successful become successful, because they don't care. They'll do whatever it takes. So the third thing I would write is get enough money and learn media buying, man. Learn Google or Facebook. Go learn it again. And nowadays, seriously, go to YouTube and watch videos. You don't have to buy the courses. I think you should, since I sell some courses on it. You should buy those. They're awesome. But honestly, if you don't, go to YouTube and watch videos. Guys, you can learn this stuff, and the money is there. You're just not going out and grabbing it. So the first thing would be to, again, marry an amazing woman like I did. She changed my life. Number two would be to find a place that I'm going to double, triple down to build my audience so that I can have influence. And the third thing is how do I build the audience using paid traffic and not just lean on free.
Notice all three of those things have underlying it the skill to enroll. All of them do, actually.
Yeah.
But the three of those...
The first one especially.
The first one definitely has it, right? Yeah. And which inevitably is copywriting. And so that's why Anik talks about it all the time. Copywriting is the number one skill for entrepreneurs. So last one. What is your vision for the future for Lurn in one sentence?
10 million entrepreneurs all over the world, 50 Lurn centers within the next 10 years.
That's awesome. Guys, if you're not excited about that, then... I don't know what you get excited about, but that is what you need to be excited about. Being an entrepreneur in this day and age, it's literally the best time in human history to be able to create something that is meaningful, that's profitable, and that literally transforms generations in your family. So I want to acknowledge you, Anik. I know that maybe we don't do this on the show as a formal thing, but I want to acknowledge you because of the way that you show up every day. It helps me become a better leader. It has shown me what it really takes to be a business owner, to be an entrepreneur, and really just the inspiration that you are to so many kids, so many people. I have 7 nieces, and I know that I want them to be able to learn from, what Lurn has to offer, and especially when it comes to youth education, entrepreneurship, like the transformation that you are creating in the world, you will be leaving that legacy that you're talking about. So I appreciate you, man.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I love doing what I do. I love working with everyone here at Lurn Nation. Guys, let's just do more together. And every opportunity you get to learn something, learn it. Learn copywriting. If it's not with me, then that'll make me sad, but at least I'll know you're learning it somewhere. Learn it from someone who knows interactive marketing. Learn it from someone who knows the current way of selling on the internet. There's not many out there. Pick a good coach, but don't move forward and start learning other stuff until you've learned copywriting. And don't just think you'll outsource it, because most people who are claiming to know it to do it for you and charging thousands don't. You need to learn it first yourself, because it'll completely change your life radically. It'll change who you are. Most people never believed that. 15 years ago, I was so shy and so nervous, I couldn't stand up in front of my own friends and say my name. That's a true story. I got in trouble for it. Because I couldn't get up in front of my class of 7 people and say my name. And here I am today where I am. It's because the confidence that learning how to do copywriting and influence has built in my life. So it's tremendous and tremendously powerful. Jeremy, thank you for everything you do for Lurn. Thank you for everything you guys do for Lurn here at Lurn Nation. You're the fuel that makes me get up every morning and do what I do.
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep doing more of it. And
Thank
by
you
the way,
guys.
remember, leave me a comment on YouTube if you're watching. If you're on iTunes, go to YouTube still and leave me a comment. I check them all the time and I reply to them. Anikpodcast.com for the show notes.
And Lurn.com/
and LURN.com/vote if you want to get in early on the copywriting masterclass. Well, if you want to hear about it early, can't get in early. 6 weeks of masterclass. And yeah,
awesome,
thanks, man.
Thank you guys for watching.
Wait,
all of you fighting entrepreneurs.
You get a chance.
I was going to say it.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was going to say, like Anik always says, make sure you go out there, and when life pushes you, stand straight, smile, and push it the heck back. Boom. I got that. I crushed that.
Broke my heart to hear someone else say it, but that was awesome.
Yes.
All right.
All right, fighting entrepreneurs. We will see you on the next episode of The Fighting Entrepreneur. See ya.
Thanks for listening to The Fighting Entrepreneur with your host, Anik Singal.